All right, how's it going, everybody? Thanks for joining me again today on the My Bourbon Journey Whiskey Review channel. So what are we gonna take a look at today? Why don't we take a look at the Elijah Craig Small Batch? A little bit of a difference here. This is gonna be a pick that was done by Don's Liquors and Wine out of California. So there might be a slight difference in terms of the profile, but we know Elijah Craig Small Batch for the most part is typically very tried and true, very consistent across the board. So it's a 94 proof bourbon or 47% ABV. Mash bill on this one's gonna be that 78% corn. The other remaining 22% can kind of go both ways a little bit here, is gonna be the rye and malted barley. It is non-age stated, but still a lot of talk about this being anywhere from that 8 to upwards of 12 years bourbons, all kind of blended and batched to create the Elijah Craig Small Batch. And then MSRP on this one is going to be right around that $30 price point. So, all right, let's go ahead and get into the review. So color-wise, you can see kind of a light goldish type of color. You know, not a big amount of color on this one. You know, and again, when you start adding a lot of that water to even anything that's got some age on it, it's going to bring the color down slightly. So, all right, let's get into the nose. Oh boy. So right away, this big kind of hit of like an orange zest on this one. Really, really nice kind of like sweet oak presence to that. Great spice on this one as well. Really nice spice, more than I can kind of remember back to other of the Elijah Craig Small Batches. This has a little bit more of that spice that's there to it. A little bit of that kind of like sweet cornbread aspect to it. Again, it's a higher corn in terms of the mash bill at 78% corn. Even like a little bit of like a Werther's candy that you get that kind of like that nice sweet caramel note on it. Again, medium spice on this one. Really nice kind of vanilla bean aspect. And then as far as the nuttiness that you get a little bit of a lot of the time with Heaven Hill stuff, is this seems to be a little bit more of like a creamy cashew than more of like a peanutty type of note. Yeah, a touch of cinnamon there. And then really kind of the more you get into it, that baking spice kind of started to come out a little bit more in it. So a nice nose, a little bit more of that orange zest forward, which again is a little bit of a kind of a typical profile for Elijah Craig, but so far a really nice nose on this one. All right, let's see how this one tastes. Cheers. Well, I would say with this, even at 94 proof, like right away, the mouthfeel is really nice on this, fairly oily. Really nice kind of sweet oak, nice spice that follows quickly. Actually, a little bit of that Kentucky hug on this one. Yeah, a little corn forward, which is very typical of the Elijah Craig stuff, you know, with that high corn amount, but it's always a little bit on the corny side of things. Again, you get some of that orange citrus that kind of follows fairly quickly on this one as well. Again, nice caramel notes, that vanilla is still there. But I would say the one thing that kind of lingers with this is there's this consistent oak and spice that's there with that subtle kind of caramel, and that orange zest is all kind of still, you know, mingling around there. Nice vanilla note on that as well. That seemed to kind of come out a little bit late Didn't get that right away, but the vanilla kind of starts to come out a little bit more in this now. Yeah, a little more of that cornbread aspect to it. Yeah, overall, it's a very, I would say with Elijah Craig, their small batch stuff, whether it's a store pick or just off the shelf, it's always very consistent in terms of the profile that you get. I will say this one probably has a little bit more of the orange zest behind it, and a little bit more oak and a little more spice. So in terms of where this one may differ from just one off the shelf, this one seems to be amped up, you know, ever so slightly. So again, it's always, you know, kind of tried and true. It's a really nice everyday type of bourbon, but I would say this one, for maybe getting, for a few dollars more, I'd say it's probably worth it, because I think you're getting a little bit more. So the guys who did the picking at Don's probably recognized that in terms of what it was that they were getting, or probably would be getting even after it was proofed down. Because I know a lot of these picks and stuff, you'll taste it at barrel strength, so you try to get a better idea or understanding of what it is that you're going to be tasting. Now, with that being said, there are ones that you are going to get already something that's pre-picked or whatever, but I know Don's, they're not doing that. So anyway, with this one, I guess if you go back to the kind of the finish part of it, you know, it's probably on the shorter side of medium. But again, the one thing I'll say with this is that lingering spice and oak and that orange zest that's there really kind of amps this one up just slightly ahead of the normal Elijah Craig small batch that you'll find on the shelf. So would I be willing to pay an extra few dollars for this versus the just normal one off the shelf? I'd say yes. I like the little bit more boldness behind this, where there's a little bit more, again, like I said before, a little more of that oak and that spice and the orange zest, a little bit of those underlying still caramels and vanillas. So again, Elijah Craig, very tried and true. It's consistent. You know, it's a favorite one of a lot of people on the daily sipping side of things. So there you have it, Elijah Craig small batch. Again, this is the Don Liquors and Wine pick that they did, and a fantastic job. I love what picks these guys generally do. They do a fantastic job with their stuff. So I'll have a link in the description below to this bourbon specifically. So if you want to go check them out and you know, pick up a bottle or two, you know, feel free to do so. So with that being said, I want to say thank you so much for tuning into another one of my reviews. Elijah Craig small batch. Let me know your thoughts, whether you like it, you don't. I know there's a lot of mixed feelings about it. Again, it's tried and true. It's a consistent bourbon. It's one that's very approachable for a lot of people who, you know, are maybe just getting into bourbon. But, you know, aside from that, having something that you can go to every day that's going to be consistent, you know, Elijah Craig small batch, you know, offers that 100%. So again, with that being said, thanks for joining me today, watching another video. Greatly appreciate it. If you'd like to follow me, you can on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. If you'd like to help support the channel, you can through my Patreon page, which I'll have linked in the description below. So again, with that being said, thank you so much. And as always, remember, it's about the journey and not the destination. Cheers.